My goal for this month's portfolio course started with an idea I had for completing my required service hours for the Media Communications Excellence Program. A good friend of mine runs rosytips.com, an e-commerce web store specializing in custom press-on nails. She had mentioned to me before that she needed help redesigning her website, and I figured this would be a perfect opportunity to not only expand my portfolio, but also gain some experience working with clients for future paid opportunities. We had met previously and took some notes about her goals for the website and what needed to be fixed. Turns out there was a lot of work that needed to be done, and I quickly realized this would be a longer process than I initially thought. When figuring out how to approach this project, I thought back to my previous web editing course and started to break the site down in terms of style. It just so happened that this all occurred right before I was due to start Portfolio 5, and I decided this is a great opportunity to start learning about Shopify and thinking about how I wanted the site to look when I was finished with the project. The first step was learning more about the Shopify platform as a whole. I have experience in several web editing platforms, such as Adobe XD, Adobe Dreamweaver, Wix, and WordPress, but Shopify was something I had never worked with before, hence the first goal of the month, which was completing 2 Shopify tutorials on LinkedIn. About halfway through the second tutorial, however, I realized there was a lot of information in there that didn't really pertain to me. It ended up being geared more towards those wanting to start their own Shopify store and was less focused on the web design aspect as I had initially thought. The Learning Shopify series ended up being a good starting point to gain some baseline knowledge of the platform, but I will have to continue seeking out additional information on customizing its themes and coding with its program Liquid. The next goal I set for myself this month was to complete a style guide for the new Rosy Tips website. This style guide would identify the website's color scheme and font choices, as well as other design and mood elements to better illustrate the end product's overall tone and mood. The purpose of a style guide is to serve as reference material during the actual redesign process, help maintain consistency throughout all web pages, and to prevent confusion in regard to things like when certain fonts should be used and on which site elements, as well as what colors will be used and where. Once I started working on the style guide, I was told that there was no vectorized version of her logo. The only copy she had was a picture from her Instagram and other low-quality images that were just really pixelated and not scalable at all. I knew this would be a problem when trying to import her logo as a fave icon or trying to insert it into the site header, and thus was born the mission of vectorizing her logo. Now, this part of the process was by far the most time-consuming. Her logo is extremely detailed, and as of right now, there is no room or money left in the budget for a full-on redesign, since she already had purchased branded shipping labels and stamps. Ready to make the best of what I had available, my first step was Adobe Capture. That didn't work at all. There was far too much detail for that app to be able to properly vectorize it in a way that was scalable but also still visually appealing. Next, I moved on to using good old image trace on Adobe Illustrator, but eventually I ran into the same problems as before. After that, I thought maybe I could try tracing the logo via the Adobe Illustrator app for iPad. Now, I definitely ended up making a significant amount of progress here, but still wasn't happy with the results that I ended up getting. Between all of the recent software updates and new features released, there were several times where I honestly just felt like I was learning the software all over again and starting from scratch. Eventually, I decided to take a break for a few days so I could properly think about the problem and come back to it with an effective solution. When I came back, I decided to give Adobe Fresco a try. That was exactly what I needed. While I was never really a fan of the app before, mostly because I can't draw a stick figure if my life depended on it, I actually found the app to be a lot more intuitive and user-friendly, especially for what I was trying to accomplish. Eventually, we had a fully vectorized and scalable logo ready for use. Honestly, once that part of the assignment was completed, the rest was pretty downhill from there. I would refer back to the Pinterest inspiration board that I had my friend set up, choose a few different font and color scheme combinations that I thought she might like, asked for her opinion, and assembled the whole thing together. I even managed to crank out an additional word mark and letter mark for use in her site as well. I'm really looking forward to continuing this redesign process with her, and even though there may have been times where I felt stuck and frustrated, I really am overall very happy with my final deliverable this month. Not only does it showcase the work that I put into this project, but I really think it's going to serve as a source of good inspiration for when I'm ready to take the next step in this redesign process.